Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello! And away we go. Welcome back to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. This is the only one that brings the firehouse, kitchen table, and everything that comes with the fire service
to you.
And right, we're including EMS because that's an important job, Rafi.
Oh, earn money sleeping. That's the way it goes.
Old school EMS.
Old school.
Earn money sleeping.
Not the, like rubber gloves. Not the rubber gloves, wear your mask type of EMS. We're talking old school EMS.
We're talking about down and dirty. Maybe when they were even giving mouth to mouth. I don't know. We'll have to ask Frankie if he ever gave mouth to mouth.
Blind finger sweep.
Blind. Look at you. Blind finger sweep.
That's old school. I think that's old school.
Yeah.
Still might be used today. I don't know.
You gotta have the blood all around you.
Yeah. What his old lady did to him last night. Blind finger sweep. I don't want to finger sweep. He pulled that one out of nowhere, brother.
What's that?
Finger sweep.
He was holding it.
You forget
he's not that quick. He had that written down. He's been.
You're a paramedic?
Yes.
Really? Look at this guy. He can throw some IVs in.
Push hard, push fast. Allow for full chest compressions.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What was that guy's name? Jim Mondello. Lub-dub.
Yeah.
Jim Mondello.
Yeah. Let's see. Wait. Somebody's lighting me up already. What do we got?
Somebody's lighting you up?
No. Okay.
Listen, I'm going to swallow my pride now and say congratulations to you Yankees. All right, making it to the World Series.
Yes.
I want to be the bigger man. Even though my Mets had a great season, didn't make it. But
sorry, I just had to.
I'm trying to be fucking humble here, you know?
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Love you, bro. I love you.
Yeah. All right, let's play some commercials quick. Let's play. You know what we're going to play first? Let's play our new Salty Wire commercial. I'm going to beat you over the head with that.
Here we go.
I'm called Jester. I'm here to amuse you or something.
Like I'm a clown?
A lot of 5-6. Will you get me the apartment number, please, on the floor above?
Yep. I'm still running the fuck out of a burning building, though, just for the record.
The apartment is underneath.
I'm in the 2-minute warning.
Oh my God.
Order a couple of firemen into a flat above a fire.
I smell the smoke. Catchy music. Get over there. $9.95 a month. www.saltywire.com. We just did we're going to give you a little teaser next week because we're not having a show on Halloween. We're going to play one of History with Hashhagen episodes about Dr. Archer. Started in the 1890s, 60 years on the FDNY. 6-0, not 16, 6-0.
Not
so
6.
You watch that on Thursday night. And you tell me if it's not worth $9.95 a month because you get the app too. You get the Firewire app and you get our original content for $9.95. You blow that where, bro? In a 7-Eleven, man, getting a protein bar and coffee, scotch. You know,
I don't even think you get like $18. No, it's like $18
for
bourbon. An old fashioned.
Yeah. Get over there and do it. www.saltywire.com. Play the next one so we can get Frank in here.
All right, here we go.
Frank the Fix.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, The company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
All right, so we got an old school EMS guy tonight, bro. So we're going to talk about the merger, when it happened. He worked before it merged to the FDNY, and we're all going to share.
I might have designed the patch, the current patch, too. He might have.
Yeah.
You might have done something.
I think
like
I have
that.
a movie quote from him, too, I think, if you guys may have heard his movie quote.
There's 10 grand here. There's a horse called Longest Day, the number 2 horse, running in the second race. Put the 10 grand on the number 2 horse to win in the second race. That shouldn't be too complicated, even for you two fucking not.
What is that from?
You don't know that movie? Are
No,
you shitting me? You know,
what is that from?
Wise Guys with Danny DeVito and Frankie the Fixer was in that whole movie.
Oh, Frankie the Fixer.
Frankie the Fixer was in there. So that's all right. That's our figure.
I don't know if I remember that one.
No.
I might have to watch. I might have to Netflix it or something.
All right.
All right.
For you
All
guys,
right.
hopefully this
Bring
is
your
better.
buddy in. This is a buddy of Lou's back from the old neighborhood. You know what I'm saying, bro? The old neighborhood. Down
my
in
guy.
Greenpert. What he was? Your grandmother was on Withers. What was he on?
Withers. He was just a couple houses up on the opposite side of the street.
Oh, look at that. You had to walk a long way to see him, huh? Good for you. All right, bring in Frankie the Fixer, bro. Old school EMS guy. Love it.
Coming to the stage. You ready, Gons?
I am.
Coming to the stage. FDNY EMS Captain Frank D'Amato.
Whoa!
It looks good. That's son of a bitch.
Does look better today.
He always had the baby face, man. Always.
Is that what it is? He looks better today. I think he's like Benjamin Button. Maybe he's going backwards or something. I don't know what he's doing.
Got the best laugh in forever.
Yeah.
He'll make you laugh.
Before we leap off, we got to get patriotic. Just,
Yes, we will.
We are that type of show.
There we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Before we jump off, I did want to say something because we had on that Salty Wire commercial, we had Chief Vincent Dunn. And he said he's in the 2-minute warning, right? So anyway, I booked him for another show. He's looking forward to do a Q&A. So if you have questions for the legend, Vincent Dunn, send them over to coobspodcast@gmail.com.
Ah, nice.
All right, Frankie the Fixer. Let's go back. Let's go back to the old neighborhood, where it all started, where you and Louis became Goombas,
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be with you. So where did it all start? Williamsburg, Brooklyn, Withers Street. Louis' grandmother lived across the street from me, and him and his cousin Louis grew up together, and a lot of good times.
A lot of gabagool, huh, over there?
A lot of goal. Yeah, that's right.
A lot of wiffle ball, a lot of
Wiffle ball. We did everything on roller skates. We played hockey, football, wiffle ball. Everything was on roller skates back in the day.
Not too many smiles though from the other Lou, right? He didn't smile that often back then, did he? Not smiling guy.
He liked Frankie. He liked Frankie. He would smile with Frankie.
Yeah, we got to get him on the show when he retires, bro. I'm gonna get a smile out of him if I got to.
There was like 6 of those guys. It was Mazzullo. You had Salvati. You had Matone. There was like
Anthony Matone.
Anthony Matone. It was probably like
my cousin.
I didn't know that. Oh, we went to college with him, right, Roof?
Yeah. We went to college with Frankie too. Frankie, you went to Baruch, didn't you, for a little bit?
Yeah, for about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think everybody left. It was like hilarious. Yeah. Everybody. I think what's his name was Dom was the only one who finished, right? I think
Dom finished, right?
I'm Francis,
yeah,
that's right. Stuff. Yeah, everybody went to
no Irish guys, old Italian guys over there. No Irish.
No, all Italian.
All right.
Italian.
That's all right.
So Irish guys in high school.
You went to a nice Catholic school, right? LaSalle Academy. All the guys.
LaSalle Academy, Lower East Side. Yeah, it was a great experience. Old boy high school, but it was tough. You know, a lot of little groups from different parts of Brooklyn, but it was nice. It was a good experience.
Oh man, how was that going to old boys school? Jones and in high school, it's like I have to get something.
You know what?
They always had sister schools, right? Like they had a sister school that they would have dances with and shit, right? Did LaSalle have that too?
No. You know, we were on the Lower East Side. You had Xavier High School was another all boys school, not too far. I think up on 14th Street or something. Yeah, we didn't do any dances or nothing like that.
No, because like Malloy had Dominican
St.
Commercial or St. Mary, whatever it is. Yeah, they always had a sister school that they would have dances at.
Yeah, no.
So you had dances with brothers. I'm not judging here, Frankie. You know what I'm saying?
There's anything wrong with that.
We had Franciscan brothers.
Yeah.
They would beat you with a stick.
Yeah,
not that.
So you graduate in '86. You go to Baruch with us for about 3 weeks, and then what happened? You took the test for EMS. So how did that happen?
So I came out. I wanted to do some computer sciences. Go to Baruch, and they're telling me I can't take any computer classes for 3 years, and I'm like, forget about it. I'm out of here. So I'm out of school. Don't know what to do. So I get a job down at the Fulton Fish Market.
Oh.
And that's where Frankie the Fish was born.
Frankie the Fish was born at
the Fish.
What are you doing? The scaling? What are you doing down there?
No, we were unloading trucks from 10 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning.
Danny Norton, right?
We had the hooks on our shoulders, rubber galoshes, pulling. We'd unload about 20 tractor trailers a night. I didn't know so much fish existed in the world until I worked out there. I mean, trucks of everything. It's just unbelievable. And I was down there, and then Giuliani wound up throwing a lot of people out down there. You know what I mean? And so my father, at the time, he's passed now, but my father was always into the volunteer ambulance corps, and he actually started the first EMT instructor class in New York State. And he was giving EMT courses at the time. I think it was Greenpoint Hospital. That's not around anymore. And he was like, oh, take the EMT class, see what happens. So I started taking an EMT class with him. And at the time, EMS started a big hiring. To get onto EMS in the old days, you already had to be an EMT to apply for EMS. I was not an EMT. EMS was looking for a big hiring, so they started a cadet program. And what the cadet program was, you came in off the street. EMS taught you how to become an EMT. I don't know if it was like a 8-week or a 12-week program. So you got your EMT. Once you passed your EMT, then you started the EMS Academy. So it was like a little segue. And I remember my father said, oh, they're starting this now. You could be in the first class, Cadet 1. And it was like a 3 to 11 shift. And I said, I don't want to go up to Queens 3 to 11. I said, I'll wait for the day shift, the next one. So Cadet 2 started, and I got into the class, and it was an eye opener. Going through the EMT program, we were really good instructors. Always had good instructors up at Fort Totten, up in Bayside, and did the EMT session, and everything worked out. And
so you were like 18 when this was going on, Frank, right? I mean, this was before
18, just turning 19. Yeah. So yeah, I got into it young, you know. And my father was like, try it for a few years, see what happens. You know what happens with that, right? 23 years later, and that's the story.
It's funny how that happens. You get pushed into something, you know, just mentioned it, and now, you know, it's a life, you know, like really, it's crazy.
So that was before the merger. So they were run by what? Health and Hospital?
You're right. We were Health and Hospitals Corporation.
Look at a mullet. Bow chicka. Wow, bro.
It definitely was 85.
Yeah.
I gotta see what you're looking at. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's at Woodhull Hospital. That's me gassing up the truck there. But yeah, so we graduate and we get our assignments, and they tell me, you're going to Cumberland, Station 36. And I was like, 36? And everybody's looking at me like I did something wrong. 36 Cumberland, that was like the place where, like, I don't know, they made it like all the bad guys went over there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, Jesus, where am I going? I was all upset. I don't want to go there. I wanted to go to Woodhull. It's right down Graham Avenue for me, living in Williamsburg. And I tell you, I got there and I fell in love with the people. You know, great partners. You know, I'll just throw a few names out there: Eddie Petrie, Eddie Rosado, Kevin Sicleri, Gary Ritter, Laurie Roche, Todd Fullman, Pete Anglum. Just people that you never forget. Ivan Resto. We had a captain, Christine Colucci.
Any Italians?
What? No O'Neills? No O'Neills?
Yeah. And I got a bus right away assigned to me, 36 Ida Tortu. We worked 9 to 5, and you know, our normal day was, you know, we would get out on the road. First thing we would do was go to our dispatch area where we were assigned. My area was down on Court Street in 3rd Place, so we'd stop at the 776 precinct over there, and we'd always sign out a police portable. So we're listening to EMS radio, and we're also listening to the police portable, because we want. We would do 10, 12 jobs in an 8-hour shift. I mean, we were running from the beginning of shift to the end of the shift. You know, we'd come out of the emergency room after dropping off a patient, and the dispatcher would just be holding calls. I mean, you couldn't get a break. And, you know, it was just crazy stuff. And, you know, nobody wanted to do the elderly, you know, difficulty breathing calls. Everybody wanted the trauma stuff, right? And back then there was no GPS in the ambulance. Yeah, nobody really knew where you were. You know, so everybody was on the honor system.
I love it.
You know, so you get a call. You're listening to the police radio, and the shooting comes over, and cop shot. You know, whatever, stabbing. You know, this and that, and you know, you always jumped on the radio, no matter where you were, you were. You were always, no, I got a 2-minute ETA. 2 minute. Everybody had a 2-minute ETA in these jobs, right? And then, you know.
It was the same as the fire department.
And the dispatch is trying to cancel units, and, you know, who's keying the radio up so they can't get through. And I tell you a funny story one time. I don't know what hospital I was coming out of, but it came over the radio. A cop was shot on Atlantic Avenue in Buffalo. And I don't know if we had just came out of the men's shelter on DeKalb, wherever it was. Anyway, I said, we got to go to that. I said, 36 Ida, we're 2 minutes out. And they had already assigned the unit. And I was driving, and, you know, we're barreling down Atlantic Avenue. And we pull up to the corner. Cop was shot inside the car. He went to move his gun belt, and he shot himself in the leg. So we pull up, an ambulance is already there. The back doors are open. The stretcher's out. So it's an empty ambulance. And I'm like, I said, get over. I told my partner, I said, you get over there. I said, we're taking this patient. And he looks at me, how are we taking this patient? I said, don't worry about it. I got it. I pulled the ambulance up alongside the other ambulance that had the open door. They had their stretcher out at the cop car already. So I take my stretcher out. I put it in the back of their ambulance. Now they come running out with the stretcher, and they go over, and their door is shut, and here's my door wide open with no stretcher in it. I said, come on, let's go, right in. And so we steal patients from each other. And, you know, cop shot, you know, that was always the best because, you know, we get escorts. trauma center, right? So we're going from Brooklyn to Bellevue, Lower Manhattan for trauma center. Us Brooklyn guys, we always wanted to get into Manhattan because on the way back, we could always stop in Chinatown for Chinese food, right? That was always the big thing. But yeah, Cumberland was really, really
like
good.
That's like stealing a nozzle, bro. Stealing a patient, bro. Right?
What?
Definitely.
Frank, you think that's like that? I mean, I don't know EMS. I mean, you think it's like that where guys that you think guys get on the job now and they're kind of like that when you first start?
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. Because now with the GPS, you really can't.
Freelance.
And then don't forget, back then, we had one lieutenant on duty, and they stood at the ambulance station. So there was no supervisors out when we were out on patrol. If we had a flat tire or something, they would have to close the station down, and that station boss would come out and bring you the spare tire and a jack and everything. If we had to wait for roadside to come, we'd be out of service all day. So, when the supervisor would leave the station, that's when everybody would go out of service. Essentially, I got to go back to the station when I need a longboard. I got no longboards. And everybody's standing at the locked station because they can't take any jobs. So that was always a way to get out.
Coobs, I know that Frank, when he's telling these stories like this, because when I was a kid, he knows he's already laughing. He used to bring, like on Saturday, Sunday, when my cousin and I and everybody was getting together, he had a book that, again, now you have your phone, you can take a picture, you can do all this stuff. But Frank, he'd be on the trains, he'd be doing all this stuff.
Yeah, he used to tell me that. He had pictures and
had
books.
Some pictures. I mean, he didn't want to show any of that stuff tonight, but he had a picture, like the head rolling around or whatever. But
we want to see
that was
stuff,
like
Frankie.
That was like the real. But you guys were loving, guys were loving to go to that stuff, right? I mean,
the trauma was where it was at. It was just the gunshots. You're going into projects. You got 500 people outside, and you look at this guy's definitely deceased, but you can't pronounce him dead on the scene because they'll kill you. So you throw him on the stretcher, throw him back of the bus.
We call those show codes.
Show codes, right? Right. Just what you got to do to get out of there alive.
Get out of there.
Get out of there alive.
Not maybe very different for you, but how it was down us.
right. But yeah, it was a great bunch of people there, and so that's where I started getting my love for radio. I'm a ham radio operator. KB2MXV is my call sign.
In Cincinnati.
So I went to get my ham radio license because I was playing with the radios and computers, and I got my ham radio license. And back then, internet really wasn't a thing yet. And like nowadays, if you talk to somebody, another state or another country, now everything's in a log book. And so I'll log that I talked to this amateur radio station, and he'll log on his end that he talked to that amateur radio station, and then we upload it to a server. The server matches us up and it goes, oh, that's a confirmed QSL. Well, back in the day, we had these little postcards that we would send to people. We would get their address. They had compact discs at the time that had, it was like a big phone book. So as soon as I got my license, the first person I ever spoke to was a ham radio operator, November 2, Michael Eddie Ida, N2MEI. His name was Kevin Kane. And normally when you talk to somebody, again, you don't know them. So you give your name, where you're from. And I said, I'm Frank. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And he said, oh, yeah. He goes, I work down in Brooklyn. I'm a firefighter down there. I said, where in Brooklyn? And he said, ladder 110 down on Hillary. Yep. And I said, wow. I said, I work for EMS right down the block. And he was like, oh, stop by the firehouse, say hello, when you're in the area.
Good.
And so right away I filled out my little postcard addressed to him. I got his address and I sent that out to him. A week or two later, I got the postcard from him, and went down to the firehouse. I met him, nice guy. Just remember him being a nice tall fella.
Is that the card right there, Frank?
That's the card right there. Yeah. So that's him. He sent me the thing. And, we would exchange our names, where we were from. We would say what radio we were using. So he had I think a Yaesu radio. I think he wrote down there. And you just, exchange.
What does that say, Frank? And not to interrupt you. What does it say, Frank? Glad to be your first
Glad to
New
be
York.
Glad to be your first New York contact.
Enjoy ham radio.
Enjoy ham radio. Here I have a Yaesu 747. Antenna is a 10-meter dipole. God bless. 73. 73 means, have a good day, Kevin.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
And Kevin, 3 months later, died in a line of duty fire. And that was probably my first time ever in a firehouse. I was never a fire buff. Fire. The fire guys. We seen at some jobs, but we didn't do too much mingling. We worked side by side with the police. They came on probably about 75% of our jobs. Because they always had to notify the next of kin. Hey, your mother fell. They took her to Long Island College Hospital. So we dealt with the police a lot. And after 3 years, all the running, I was getting tired. I was getting married for the first time back then, and I said, you know what? I said, I'm loving this radio, loving talking on the radio. I was a big computer buff. I said, why don't I go become a dispatcher down in EMS down in Maspeth? So I put in for a transfer, and I got transferred to Maspeth, 55-30 58th Street. I'm sure a lot of old timers never forget that address. And that was actually EMS headquarters. So on the first floor, we had the dispatch center with the 911 call takers. We had Office of Public Information on the first floor, some of the chiefs. And on the second floor was all like administration, like operations, the deputy director, chief, the chief of EMS operations, chief of field services, all the bigwigs were up on the second floor there. And when I got to communications, everybody had to start as a call taker, answering 911 calls. Oh, and I hated that. I wanted to be a dispatcher so bad. So as soon as the first dispatch class came
we're 2 minutes out, negative, remain in service.
You wanted to be the guy shutting it down.
So here was the best. So now I become a dispatcher, and now I'm dispatching Brooklyn North. So Brooklyn North covers Greenpoint, Williamsburg, back downtown Brooklyn. So I grew up in the K7. I worked the K6. I worked the K5. So I knew it like the back of my hand. So when I ask a unit, what's your location? They give me a location. I would know their ETA before they would say it, or I know if they were bullshitting me, what their ETA was, because I knew it like the back of my hand. And I had a partner. I had two good partners. One was Al Garris. We called him Jelly Roll. Funny guy. And then we had a Hasidic Jew, Moshe Schwartz.
Forget about it.
With you.
A thick accent, but he was such a good dispatcher. He just knew the area so well, and you had a love-hate relationship with him. But again, just somebody that stuck in my mind, all these years. So I was doing dispatching for a little while, and then a position opened up on the Chief of Communications staff, and I applied for that, and I got taken in because I was pretty good with the computers.
How much time do you have now, Frank? 6, 7 years, 8 years?
This,
what do you got?
No, this is only about 5 years now. This is about 93. So I started working for John Lazaro. He was the chief of EMS Communications, and the deputy chief at the time was Chief Thomas Ryan, who I adored. I kind of modeled myself after him. He was a fun guy, very fair, but he could be a bulldog when he needed to be a bulldog. But just a great guy, and he passed many years ago. But just a great guy. But so anyway, so now I'm working on staff, and we're doing little projects. And one of the things I start doing was programming pages. So we would give out pages to all the chiefs, alphanumeric pages, right? And we'd have these terminals where inside of communications, the citywide talk commanders for EMS, when there was a fire or an EMS job or a bus accident or a train job, they'd send these pages out, and everybody would get the pages. And so on staff, we had really good people. I met some longtime friends, Ross Terranova, Louis Kopp, Pete Hosey, George San Martino, Jerry Gumbo, Dave Billig, Robert Leonard. These guys worked in public information, and we had such a good time, playing, just doing crazy things with them. Gus Pappas, it was just crazy. So anyway, getting back to these pages, because the pager rolls into the fire side. So we're programming pages, and so the main thing was we would clone these cap codes. So when a fire went out or we sent the page out, everybody got the page at the same time. It wasn't like it went down a big list, because that list would be long. It may go to 40 people. And the time it gets to the first person to the last person, it could take 10 minutes because everything's on dial-up, right? We didn't have like high-speed internet, so it's dialing up. And sending guns.
Oh no, that's on a different page. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. You could have had them.
So anyway, so now we're rolling into. There you go. Right. So that's every time you send the page, you're sending out the modem noises. So about 95, they start talking about merger. Merger.
I was just going to ask you that, Frank. Were they talking about it before that at all? Or?
Yeah. So being on staff, we heard little whispers about HHC. The city wasn't happy with the way Health and Hospitals was running EMS. There was some rumors that we may go to NYPD because we work so closely with them. And, we were basically formatted the same way. Our responses areas overlapped the precincts. And then it went to, they talked about fire. And at the time, they were, I think it was, they started closing some firehouses. I guess fires were down. Mm-hmm. They were trying to close some firehouses, and what they decided to do was bring EMS into fire and get the fire guys trained for first responders. Because at the time, EMS, our response times weren't good. We'd have a 9 to 12 minute.
Yeah, I remember that was you guys were really shitty. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the amount of calls. We were doing, anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 calls a day for 911. And in the summer months, when schools were out, we'd be about 5,500, 6,000 calls for 911 a day. It's just, we just couldn't handle it. So, the merger, talk with the merger, and have.
Who was the commissioner? Was Von Essen? Was he there at this time?
Von Essen, I think Von Essen was there, right? Yeah, he was there for the merger. Yeah, absolutely. And when the merger happened, if I'm not mistaken, I think Chief Nigro became the chief of EMS, and he took on the EMS, ran the EMS. So anyway, so what happened? So here in Maspeth, once we merged with fire, the whole top floor of Maspeth moved to fire headquarters, which at that time was down on Livingston Street. And fire communications, the staff, the commissioners, they moved over to Maspeth, where EMS Communications was. Mm-hmm. So that's where I met Commissioner Gregory, Steve Gregory, and we hit it off right away. Talk to me. Hey, where are you from? Where'd you go to school? I said, I went to LaSalle Academy. He goes, oh, I went to LaSalle Academy. Oh, wow, that's great. He goes, my son went to LaSalle Academy. I said, who's your son? He goes, Mark Gregory. And I'm like, oh, I graduated with Mark. So I went to school with his son. He was a LaSalle guy. So he kind of took a liking to me. So he took me under his wing, and he said, you know what, you're going to work directly for me. And so he was a Bamontes guy. We go to Bamontes. And Bamontes. Bamontes go down the block. I'm walking down the block.
So now you know what, Coobs. Now it's all making sense how some of these people that Frankie would call, miraculously would get to some of these companies that they put in for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They had to sit down at Bamontes, and then.
Hey, you think you could take care of my guy? Yeah, no problem. Yeah. The paper in.
Didn't the girl we went to high school with?
I get the VO lab chop. You know what I mean?
Didn't we go to high school with the girl who owned Bamontes?
Yes, we did. Laura, Lisa, and Laura.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So now we got a new cast of characters coming up that I'm meeting from the fire side now. Again, I'll throw some names out there: Joe Higgins.
Oh my God.
John Pacelli, Mike Fox, Pat Alisi, Jerry Neville, Ivan Goldberg, and
Jewish.
it was just a different environment than I was used to. Funny guys, and everybody got along. So I got to tell you, EMS, we were far ahead of fire computer-wise. On the EMS side, we had the EMS logos on all our letterhead and everything.
We were
when
dinosaurs.
The fire side came in, nobody had a fire logo for any letterhead. Everything that was coming out from the fire side looked like it was typed on a typewriter with carbon copy paper behind it.
Yeah.
It was like crazy.
I mean, for crying out loud, we're getting our runs off a little brown box in the house box.
And we would send out shit through the bag. Most of our stuff would go through the bag.
Yeah.
Right. So I go, I said, we need a fire department logo. So nobody had a logo. So at the time, before Photoshop, I used to use a program called Corel Draw. So I, was looking at a picture of the fire logo, and I'm making my own version. To the naked eye, you probably couldn't tell the difference, but it was my little version. And, so you can see on the left was the original, and on the right is my version. You can see my flame. I couldn't get the flame skinny. I had to start with a circle. So if you notice my flames, they're like rounder. And then the building to the far right, mine is more skinnier, where the original fire logo was like domed. Mm-hmm. And on the far left, you could see like they had like an extra section on that bottom left building. So I made this logo and I had it on my computer and I'm putting it on all these documents and everything. And the logo gets passed around. Not too much longer than that. In '98, they opened up 9 Metrotech Center, and at that time, all of us from administration for EMS, for fire, we all moved up to Metrotech. So now I'm in Metrotech, and I'm working on the 7th floor with fire communications. And this is where I'm getting my first exposures now. Right where I sat, right next to me was where the citywide tour commanders bunk room was, up on the 7th floor. So now I'm meeting Chief Nigro, Cassano, Don Burns, all these
all coming together, Roof.
And
if I only knew.
I mean, that's why you got the name Frankie the Fixer, I think.
Yeah. Well, they found out I was working at the fish market and putting fingers, and that was it. So,
hey, Frankie, I want to ask you a question. So when they went online, actually, I think they did it by what? By borough, right? Brooklyn was first online, right? What do you mean online? What? When they went online for CFRD to start doing it.
CFRD. Yeah. I think Brooklyn was first, and I don't know where it went second. But the goal was to send you guys to the EMS, the higher priorities. EMS had 8 different priority levels. And the goal was to send you guys on the priority 1, 2s, and 3s: cardiac arrest, difficulty breathing, shooting, stabbings, that kind of stuff. But it came with a caveat. You guys could only go if there was the availability around you was there. If maybe the second due to your boxes was out on a run, you didn't go. So it wasn't like every priority 1, 2, or 3 call that you guys went on. And this was all done in the background. The computer would know the availability. But so that was it. And it was good, and I remember, in the beginning, it was a lot of calling you guys, helping us assist with carrying patients. We have an ambulance crew with 2 people, right? And we're carrying, oxygen, we're carrying our tech bag, we're carrying a stair chair, we're carrying a defibrillator, and we get up, 4 or 5 flights, and now we got to carry somebody down. It's only 2 of us. So a lot of times we were calling for backup, and we get engine companies coming over. Sometimes they were happy, sometimes they weren't, but it's part of the job. Anything not to close the firehouse.
You know what, Frank? You know what? It's funny you say that because I remember guys were pissed, right? But you know what? Guys felt good and you could tell the good EMS guys is if they said, "Hey, listen, I'll carry the patient down. You just take my bags down," or whatever it was. Initially, right? Initially, if you did that, then the guys would do anything for you. You know what I mean? If they felt like you weren't bamboozling them, I think that was really the key. Like you just said, like if you guys had a lot of shit there to take down, but sometimes you would get there and there was 2 girls there and they couldn't lift the paper bag, right? So it was kind of like the guys would do it, but then they would muddle under their breath a little bit. But I think you knew the guys who were doing the job and just needed a hand, and then the guys didn't care about that. And that's the truth. But guys, like anything, firemen bitch all the time.
Anyway. You know what it is too? Just to complete and continue with the CPR while you guys were getting them on a monitor, maybe getting some meds. I mean, I think that helped out a lot with saving patients, because we would come in, relieve your EMS, and you guys would be out of CPR, and you guys would be able to do something else, to try to get that back.
Well, just getting you guys to these cardiac arrest patients, before we could even get there. You guys are starting CPR, high concentration of oxygen, rescue breathing. It was a big thing.
It was too, Frank. When I worked in East New York, it was never. I never felt like it. I just felt like an ambulance ride most of the time. Not always, but when I worked in 288, it was an older population there, right? It was German, and over there, we really were making a difference. The quicker we got there, we really did make a difference. So I guess it would depend on area too, right? I never felt like that in Brooklyn, but in Queens, I felt like we were getting there quicker. And there were times, whatever, you get, every couple of months they would put the thing in, and you got the little medal or whatever you got there. I forget what the heck it was.
Yeah. But my very first EMS run, of course, they make the Proby do it. So we go to the projects. The guy says, difficulty breathing, heart attack. So they go, Proby, go up, ring the bell, get in. It's in the projects. So I go to open the door. I can't get in. There's a guy sitting there smoking a cigarette on the steps. Like, can you get me in here? He goes, oh, no, that's for me. I got a little tightness, a little shortness of breath. I'm like,
well, he's smoking.
Like, maybe you want to put the cigarette on. I don't know, bro,
That's funny stuff. Man. Yeah, but so getting back to headquarters. So I was
talking about the patch.
Yeah,
we were talking about the patch.
Right. So I made this logo. So we get the headquarters, and now everybody's like, oh, where'd this logo come from? Where's this logo come from? I said, oh, I made it. I'll send you a copy. So now, everybody and the mother has this logo, and they're putting it on letterhead, this and that. And I'll let that go for now, and I'll get back to that in a little bit. But Commissioner Gregory put me in charge of the technical unit. And in the technical unit, we were in charge of giving out all the cellular phones, programming pages, and I talked about that a little bit. And I got two quick stories with the pages. So like I told you, with EMS, we were cloning cap codes. So when we sent one page out, it went to like 40 people at once. When we got to Metrotech, the Fire Operations Center, FOC, they called it at the time, not FDOC yet. They had somebody there doing the pages, and they had a system where it went alphabetically. Right. So they were sending, a page out. It would go to individually 70 different people. And I remember Commissioner Gregory coming down to me one time after a meeting, and he said, Von Essen's hot. I said, what happened? He said, there's a big fire, and he's the last one to get notified, right? Because his last name starts with a V. He's at the bottom of the list. Everybody's page is going off in the room.
He's a V.
Around, what's going on? And he's the last one to get notified.
V.
And I told Gregory, I said, they won't let me change the pages. They won't let me change the pages software. Well, Gregory went in and said, this guy's in charge of the pages. Let him program the pages. So now I clone everybody's pager. So now we send out one page. 200 people get the page at once. And that was it. And
Von Essen's happy. See,
Von Essen's happy. That was the thing, right?
He's like, take that guy to Bamontes. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go to Bamontes. And when we were talking, I talk about the computer stuff, and I was like the first kid on the block with a computer. And you said,
what did I say? Hold on, before you say anything, Frank. What did I say when I talked to my cousin too? We were talking about this, and I had mentioned this to Frank when I spoke to him the first time when we decided we were going to have him on. He's always been not one step ahead. He's been like 4 steps ahead in any, and when it comes to this type of stuff, he's always been way ahead. Now he's doing, 3D printing. He's got the drone, he was doing drones when they didn't even know what the hell a drone was. You know what I mean? He's always been that electronic.
What'd you have back in the day? You had the Commodore 64?
No, I had a TRS-80 color computer. I was a Tandy guy.
Oh.
It was a Tandy guy.
Look how excited he got. You see, look at his face.
Yeah,
He turned
yeah.
blue, and it was just like,
Whoa.
it was a Tandy guy.
So now I got the fire department paging system going, right, and everything's going good. And and at that time, we didn't have Facebook or anything. We had bulletin boards. You guys remember bulletin boards, right?
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's posting stuff. So I'm thinking, I'm going, okay. So you know what? So whenever there's a big fire, second alarm, here and there, it's coming over the pages, right? Everybody's getting it on the pages. Everybody who's anybody's getting that information. So I'm going, how can I get this out to the public? How can I get this information out to the public? So I Jeremy rigged the computer up that when they sent that page out, it also, I put in an email address. So that page went to an email address. And I had a computer set up at headquarters that all it did was looked at this email address. When an email came in, it converted that email and it posted it to one of the bulletin boards, like a fire bulletin board I was on or whatever. And this was a Friday. So all the fires that went out over the weekend are getting posted to this bulletin board. And there was nothing confidential, second alarm fire, box, Manhattan box this, 15-story, just the basic stuff. And I came into work Monday morning and they knew it was me right away, right? Because everything's showing up as my name. And they called me in and I got like called onto the carpet. What do you think you're doing? You can't give this information out. And I really was struck by it. Like they were really pissed. Like they wanted to hang me out. I ran out of there. I unplugged that computer. It never went out again. Wrapped it up. Right. And then let's fast forward about 10 years. Right, 10 years. Facebook, Twitter is starting. Now the person who's sending out those pages every day on Twitter and Facebook
is a champ.
They wanted to burn me, and now
burn your state. That Firewire guy, he does the same thing.
I was just gonna say that. We know a guy, Firewire guy, does the same thing.
Right. So, and it was crazy. So, so again, being up on the 7th floor, I'm running,
you could have been a gazillionaire, Frank.
Yeah, right. So I'm running, rubbing shoulders with Peter Gansey, Joseph Ramos, Pete Hayden. I met Yakimovich up there. Funny guy, man. Classic. And on the EMS side, so now I'm starting to work with EMS operations. And, I met Eric Frick, Abdul Namod, John.
Oh, Eric Frick. I used to hunt with him.
Frick. Oh yeah, Frick. Right. I think you hunted with with him and his brother, right? He had a brother that was a cop.
Yeah. But Eric, I knew Eric really well, actually.
Right. He was another Queens guy, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Sanders, Charlie Wells, Jay Switters, just a lot of good guys. So I got promoted to captain in August of 2001. So 2001, we have the captain promotions, and that was nice. And then a month later, 9/11 happens. And, we all know the story with 9/11, but, that morning, when that first plane hit, the whole 7th floor emptied out. We were all in the elevator together. Steve Gregory, Sam Harris, Jace Pincus. We went down in Steve Gregory's car. We went Liberty and West Street. Me and Steve went right over to the fire command post. And, I was there for about 10 minutes. And I see that there's a big ambulances are staging on West Street and South End Avenue by Liberty Street. So I told Commissioner Gregory, I said, hey, I'm going to go over and help the EMS.
I didn't notice, Frank. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, help the EMS guys out with staging. So I went west, I don't know, maybe about 500 feet. And, that first tower came down and, it was just crazy. We know that a lot of people from that command post didn't make it.
Yeah, wow, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, so I felt, very, very lucky. And at the time, being the cellular phone guy in the fire department, we had a bunch of cell phones, out to chiefs at the time, but we just started using Nextel phones also. And when the towers came down, we had no cell service down there, but Nextel was downtown doing some sort of demo, and they had these portable cell towers there. So people with Nextel phones had landline communications. And boy, I think there must have been about 20 of us, and I was one of the guys that had a Nextel phone. Everybody was just grabbing the phone, calling home, making the notifications. Hey, I'm okay. Hey, I'm okay. Then a little while later, the second tower comes down, and I wind up at the South Street Seaport at the ferry terminal. We had an EMS staging site there, for patients to come in for triage, and there was nobody. We never got any patients. Only people coming in with some firefighters with eye irritations, but there were no patients. You either made it or you didn't. Yep. That's how that went. Mm-hmm. So, and I remember the days after that, after 9/11, being back at headquarters, every morning we had a list of firefighters that they were trying to confirm that, or missing firefighters. And I remember the first few days, Lou, your name was on the list.
Yeah, I
was just going to say, me and him were both on the list that day.
Yeah, and I remember calling your cousin, trying to get your cousin, and I got your cousin. I said, you talk to your cousin, Louis? Is he all right? I said, because he's on this list here. And, so, you see names on the list. I only knew a few fire guys at that time, like from the neighborhood. And, you see names and you're like, oh, my God, please, and, so that's how, that went there. And, that's when things changed.
That had to be like a tough time for you guys, because if you were to communications, that was a whole big thing, right? With Motorola and the handy talkie and the repeaters and, all that stuff was like that was forefront then, right? Like that was what they said guys weren't getting the messages to get out.
Right. So I'm trying to remember, I think right before that. So they went APCO P25. They tried going digital for a while. And I think that you guys like when you went on a fire ground, with the old analog way, if somebody was transmitting and then somebody else transmitted on top of them, you would hear them. With the digital, you weren't hearing
cut them off. Right.
They were getting cut off. And I think you guys weren't on digital too long before they moved you back to analog. Yeah. And I remember the fire department had to get a release or something from the FCC because it was mandated to move everybody to this narrow banding, they called it. With radios, normally you work on a 25 kilohertz space of transmission. They were trying to do narrow banded where you worked on a 12.25 slither, because they wanted to get more people on the same channel. But yeah, that never took off.
We were picking up on the digital. We were picking up transmissions from Manhattan. Like we would hear the fire ground in Manhattan on our radios in Queens.
Yeah, well, that was what happened. Was they tried separating a lot of stuff, and I know on the EMS side, like back in the day, like say Brooklyn North frequency, but we had a TAC channel. All the TAC channel was the same frequency, but you weren't talking to the dispatcher. You were just going out on a simplex channel. It was almost like a mixer. Well, not really a mixer off message, but it was the same. It was the same frequency. What they wind up doing was reversing frequencies. So you may have been on. If you were in Brooklyn, your tactical channel could have been like the reverse of the Bronx frequency channel. But if you were close enough to them, you could hear some of their one-sided transmissions. They squared all that away.
I used to hear pilots sometimes, Frank. Like we'd hear like LaGuardia or something. Like you hear the pilot talking or something once in a while.
Well, you guys were on VHF for a long time before you went to UHF. The EMS and NYPD, we were always UHF frequencies. We were a little higher. Upper HF, so we were in the 400 megahertz, 480s, 470s, where you guys were in the 150 megahertz. And you guys are pushing a lot of power. You seen the big antenna towers, at all the fire dispatch facilities in each borough. So yeah, you guys are pushing a lot of power. I mean, I'm here in Pennsylvania now, and I remember, when I met some people up here, I told them I work for the fire department. On good days, they would hear the New York City Fire Department transmissions up here, because it would go right through the Delaware Water Gap, and right through the mountains, and they'd be listening to the fire up here. But now that you're on UHF, that's
Hey, Roof, I think I might have found the smartest guy in Greenpoint. We got. Is he speaking English?
Dude,
I'm telling you right now.
So we didn't talk about this before, but when we were kids, and again, I had forgot about this. There was my cousin and I were probably 20. Right. He had been in the EMS for a couple of years. Right. He was doing the communication stuff. He was listening to the scanners. And he took us one day. We were getting on the FDNY, and he says, I think it was 4th of July. Right, Frank?
Yeah.
And he says, listen, come on, we're going to drive around. We're going to buff jobs. And he had the scanner. And this is when 4th of July was 4th of July. Right. It was like mayhem. You had to keep the windows up. Right. It was a free for all. And we drove around Brooklyn, and we were listening to the scanner, and we were going to like jobs, like to different fires, like buffing. Yeah. And that was the first time I ever realized, even thought about what a scanner was. But it was him. He was way ahead again. You know what I mean?
All right, Majestrium over there.
Yeah. So once I became a captain, I was again on administrative staff, but I would help out in the EMS Communications Center when they were short staffed there. I did some tours as an EMS citywide tour commander, which was the captain inside the EMS Communications. People who worked administrative positions to keep our certifications current, we had to go out and do so many field tours a month. So I was doing a duty captain duty in Manhattan, DC1, and back then we had one captain per borough on patrol. So I turned out of Peck Slip downtown, and I would have to respond up to the tip of Manhattan, up 140th, 150th Street.
Holy shit.
So I'd always, park in Times Square, stay in Midtown. This way I can go east or west.
What a patsies.
North and south. Yeah, north and south. And so that was a good time also. But I did a lot of special projects, planning, special events for the marathon, New York City Marathon. I did a lot of database stuff. I'd have the New York City Road Runners Club. They would give me all their data of all their runners. So when we had our mobile command center set up at the finish line of the marathon, when units in the field had a radio in that they had a patient, all we needed was a bib number. And once I had the bib number, I was able to pull up all the patient's information. I had their name, next of kin, and we were giving reports to the New York City Road Runners Club. So I did a lot of stuff like that. I created the EMS scheduling program that I know they used for a good 15 years. I don't know what they're doing now to schedule, but I created this scheduling program that produced the rundowns for the month. They were putting people on vacation. You had your whole rundown, and we worked the 5-2-5-3 schedule in the field. So our days rotated like you guys. What do you guys do? 9 and 16.
2 9s and then 2 15s. Yeah.
Right, but you're doubling up. Doing
you do 24s. Yeah.
Right, and one of my other big projects was the biopod. You guys, I wonder if
they still do that. I think
they do. They really, yeah. So I got tasked with making this database that tracked, and we stood in FDOC, and that tracked what units we were getting. We were sending the doctors out and the nurses to the stations. They were giving you the flu shots, and they wanted stats. Everything was stats. So I was able to give them on the moment, how many engine companies we did, how many ladder companies we did, how many in the engine company accepted the shot, how many didn't, and like the numbers were just crazy. But once I had it built, and we did that for years. That was a 24-hour event, I think, right? We normally did that.
A couple of days, I think. Actually, it was a few
November,
days.
right? The beginning of November, I think.
In the winter.
Used to do that. It was a 24-hour event. Or I can't remember what it was. But so I was doing all that kind of stuff.
It would take you out of service. Yeah, like if we would have to go down to Howard Beach or something sometimes, or we'd have to go like wherever the doctor was, right?
Right.
And the nurse would give you the shot.
Right, and they were mobile, so they would be in they might be in Howard Beach, for a few hours, and then they would go somewhere else. Oh, but you know what? Let me just back up. I got to tell you one funny story. Right after the merger happened, in Maspeth, that's where all the ambulances came to get preventive maintenance. Their oil changed and everything. So after the merger, when the ambulances came in, we had white buses with an orange stripe. Some buses had an orange and blue stripe. So for the first 6 months, I want to say after the merger, before the mechanics would release the ambulances back to the ambulance garages, they had a bunch of us doing overtime. And all we did was take ambulances from Maspeth, took them over all the way to Rockaway. We were dropping them off at this body shop. And they were painting over the orange with red stripes, and they were taking the NYC EMS off and putting FDNY. I had sent you guys a few pictures of the different versions of the ambulances, how they looked. But we did that for about 6 months, every day.
Everybody needs a gig, Coops. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Everybody needs a gig.
You know what building he's talking about, Roof?
Yes, I do.
It's where they have all the rigs now.
Yeah. The graveyard is over there now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was a good gig. That went on for like 6 months. We were just getting all the ambulances painted, just running up and down Cross Bay Boulevard all day, all night. So that was.
You got those pictures, guys, or we didn't load them in?
Yeah, it was just it was a few different versions of the ambulance colors, how they progressed over time to what we have now. If you don't have them. Yeah, sure.
You're muted, Gons.
I'm sorry. No, we didn't. Thanks. I was making noise back here. I didn't want anybody to hear it. That was a clue. But no, we didn't load those pictures. But I was just trying to find a couple. I found this guy here.
Right. So that was the version where that red line going across the middle, that was orange. So all they did was they painted that red. They took the NYC EMS off the sides and they put the FDNY and right back into service. So after about 6 months, everything in the city said FDNY, and that was the end of New York City EMS.
Gonzo, what is a new rig like that? Like the new ones in New York?
Fire trucks.
Yeah. I had one here.
The bottom half is red. Top is white.
That's right. I got
how much does it cost? Those rigs.
Those ambulances, they're not that much. The one I'm going to show you here is not from. My knowledge is probably under $100,000 for this thing.
With the radio and everything, that's pretty cheap.
Then once you outfit it with your equipment and stuff like that, but
that's an older one too. You got to see them.
Yeah, that's a little older. Yeah.
Well, then you got the paramedic units where it almost look like a mini rescue.
Right.
They got the Haztech ones. Those guys look like
yeah.
Were you there when they started the Haztech, Frank?
Well, you know what? EMS had a Haztech prior to the merger, and they were Haztech trained. They were citywide ambulances. They were like zeros, so 10, like 10 David, 10 Charlie, 10 Zebra. All the 1 units were in Manhattan, all the 2 units were in the Bronx. 20 this, 20 that. Brooklyn was 3, Queens was 4, and Staten Island was 5. And that was another thing too. That was a big culture shock. Like with EMS, when you said 13 Adam, right away you knew it was a Manhattan unit. You knew it was a BLS unit. You knew it was kind of south in Manhattan because the way Manhattan was broken up, it was broken up into 9 different areas. And just take the picture of Manhattan and slice it 9 equal ways across. So, not the M9 they called it was up north. So you'd have 19 Adam, 19 Boy, 19 Charlie. So it was real quick. When we came into the fire department, and I think I was telling Louis, we'd have these staff meetings in communications, and we get letters from captains from fire companies. They were complaining about that they should be first due to this box because they're always the first due. This company is first due. We should be first due. And I remember, and I'm just going to throw some companies out there. So let's say, ladder 132 was complaining that they should be first due to this box. And in the room,
it's always my cousin. That's why.
Yeah, right. So and they're throwing numbers out. So I'm saying, okay, so ladder 132. So I'm going, well, where's ladder 131? Where's ladder 133? Shouldn't they be right next to them? No, they're in the Bronx. They're in this. And I'm like, wow. I said, well, what are you saying? And I'm saying, I'm saying they should all be renumbered. I think, don't you think we should renumber them? But I don't know the history, and I'm thinking, well,
the history is the thing.
Renumber them, and everybody's looking at me like I got three heads, but I don't know the history.
Let's renumber them.
Hey, Frankie the Fixer, did you ever have any favorite firehouses that will let you guys buy into the meal? I guess when you were riding on the bus.
No, we never dealt with any firehouses. Back in the late '80s, early '90s, it wasn't like that. Yeah, no, we never spent any time with fire, really.
Oh, we should ask the cops that.
And talking about the merger, I think when they merged, I want to say there was a house in Rockaway that actually
121. Yeah.
Did they put EMS in that house?
Yes, they're still in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was the first one, and I know it had a lot of problems at first.
I think it's kind of worked out now.
I think it's worked out.
Oh yeah. Now it's a totally different time, but I can understand. It's like outsiders moving in. Like we're squatting into place. But guys always, we were always running.
You ain't lying.
We were always running. We were always out. We weren't hanging around. So,
Frank, did you always have that? Were you guys? We didn't talk about it, but did you guys always have like the blood thing going, like back in the day? Like if you had more blood on you, like under the train or like extrication, did guys do that, or that was kind of out when you got there?
No, and you know what? When we got there, when I started, all the EMTs and all the paramedics, we wore green pants and we wore white shirts, right? So think of this, here we are dealing with blood and guts, and we got white shirts. So, you started your tour at 6 a.m. By 6:30, you were a mess already. You're on the floor. You're just dirty, like a dirty slop. All day long. You couldn't be clean. White shirts. And then you're trying to eat inside an ambulance. Go into a call, things falling all over you. It's crazy. It was just nuts.
Depending how much blood you had on it, that was your soot for the fireman comparison kind of
thing. That's a salty EMS guy.
Salty EMS guy. How much blood can you get on you? That's how we compare.
Yeah. So where does my story go from here? So in 2005, again, this is a Brooklyn thing. Our Lady of Mount Carmel. That's where I went to school. That was my parish. We have a big Giglio feast. And
over 100 years old.
Over 100 years old. And
wow.
Yeah. When I was so young, I remember there was a Turk. The Turk rides on top of this boat. They carry him around. He dresses up in this big garb. And I always was awed by it. And I said, I want to be the Turk. I want to be the Turk. And in 2005, I was heavily involved with the church. I was doing the website for the feast. I got the feast.
Live cam. You had the live cam.
Live cameras, right.
I remember watching it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing live streaming before live streaming was even a thing. And
he was doing
in 2005.
You ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
Father Fonte selected me to be the Turk. And
you got those pics, right, Guns?
Yes, I was just waiting for the right time. I was just waiting.
So the Turk has a beard, right? So now I want to grow a beard. So I had to get a letter from my priest, and I had to take it to the fire department. I had to get a religious observance for 3 months so I could grow this big beard, because we can't have any facial hair. So I did that.
They let you have it? Nice.
Looks like Sinbad.
So
Sinbad of the
Coog,
Seven Seas.
that platform, right? That's the boat that he's talking about. But that platform, underneath that, there's like 200 guys that lift that and dance it through the street. Yeah, but I'm just saying most people don't know that that's what that is, right?
Yeah, there might be some other pictures that you can kind of see the crowd and.
Send me the pictures of a young.
Well, that's just the crowd. I don't know if you get underneath it.
Did you have to sing or say anything as being the Turk?
No, I just jumped around and threw confetti.
Just got to get silly with
There's
yourself.
a whole brass band up in the boat with me, and they have a big procession in the morning. They come pick you up, like I was telling Louis. I said they're carrying me around there like I brought home the Stanley Cup to the city.
Let's see the young pictures there.
Oh, look at Pee Wee. Pee Wee said the same thing. I said Turk 182.
Yeah.
Zimmerman, something and somebody flew. Turk 182. That's a fireman movie.
So we have that young picture first.
Oh, look at the pipes on. Look at the pipes on him, bro.
Before we get to the other good one here that we have,
Pink lemonade, Louis fresh cut cups.
We used to sell stuff at the feast since I was probably 16 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Watermelon, Italian ices, right?
Slaying it.
Yeah.
Got into pretzels a little bit. Look at him, bro. He knows how to do it.
He was all about that. That's where it started.
That's where it started, is right.
That's where it started, baby.
We would make a lot of money for 14 days or whatever it was, 12 days.
14 days and all the chicks you can get a hold of.
It didn't hurt either.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the other one I sent you? You have the one I sent you?
Yes, of course.
Oh, Louis the lemonade man.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
I don't know. What year is that? Can you see it on the shirt? Say the year?
1984. Looks like 1984.
84.
That's what it looks like.
What were we, 16 years old, Lou?
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks like 84.
Who's that? Frankie up on your shoulders?
Yeah, it's my cousin Frank. And who's to the left of my cousin? What's his name? I forget.
That's Tommy Cherubino.
Tommy, right?
Another Italian.
Look at Ruff with the quaff. Look at the quaff of hair he's got going on there, bro.
God, look at this guy.
He
looks like somebody. We'll leave this up for another couple seconds here. Just soak it in.
Soak it all in.
Soak it in. Soak it in.
Soak it in.
All right, you can take that down.
Yeah. Come on. No.
Wow.
I'm uncomfortable now.
Yeah. So now, I'm just doing more and more special projects. EMS communication, the staffs we had a few chiefs come in and out, but Abdo Namo, Jace Pincus, Mike Fitton, Blanca Delgado, Sam Harris, people I worked with, Mariela Flores, just good people that stay in my heart. Always thinking about them. I still get birthday messages from some of them, and a few of them reached out to me today to say, "Hey, good luck tonight," and it was nice. Just good people. And then in 2008, we started planning for PSAC, which is the Public Safety Answering Center. Fire dispatch from every borough fire had their own dispatches. EMS, we all dispatched out of Maspeth, but then that building actually started to collapse at one point. And they put us in trailers right outside the collapsing building.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then they wind up moving us to one Metrotech. One Metrotech. It was in the Bear Stearns building, so we were in there for a while. And NYPD, they dispatched out of one police plaza. So this PSAC that was being planned for Metrotech, this was going to bring all the police dispatchers in, all the police call takers in. We were going to bring in all the 5 fire boroughs and all the VMS. And that was a long project. We were looking at different dispatch systems, phone systems. We all had different computer systems. So we were trying to figure out how we're going to make all this work under one roof. And it played a role in that for a few years. And then that dispatch center finally opened in 2010. And now they have a second dispatch center up, PSAC 2, up in the Bronx. So I think I don't know, is it Brooklyn and Manhattan?
They're all together now, Frank, aren't they?
Well, police, fire, and EMS dispatch are all together, but the city dispatch is separated. So we got a Brooklyn and a Bronx one. Half the city is dispatched from Brooklyn, half the city dispatch from the Bronx. For redundancy, God forbid we get attacked again.
Right.
Any one of those buildings could could take over the full city if they need to. And then in 2011, I packed it in. I got married again in 2000. So from 2000 to 2011, I commuted back and forth to Pennsylvania. I drove into Brooklyn. I stood in Brooklyn for 4 days. I had a good schedule up at headquarters, so I worked 4 days, and I was off 3 days every week. And so for 11 years, I was going back and forth, and I just had enough of it. And, I just packed it in, and it was hard to say goodbye. I tell you, you get I got very emotional. We had a little going away party, little retirement thing up at headquarters, and you think you come into this job 18 years old. When I left, I don't know, was I 43, 44, but you don't realize you grow up there, and for all those years, day in and day out, it was tough leaving. Left a lot of good people behind, but
you still keep in touch with them, Frank?
I do. I do have some friends that I keep in touch with. Some of them went on to. Some of them left while we were still working. One of my buddies, George San Martino, he became a Fairfax firefighter in Fairfax County. If you guys remember from 9/11, that famous picture of the Pentagon where they draped the American flag down, that was his fire company from Fairfax County.
Wow.
That did that. Yeah. So now retirement has been good. I retired. My wife was a stay-at-home mother. I retired. She went back to work. I don't know.
Nice. You got to do it, Frankie.
Yeah. I'm still with the radios, still flying drones. I love it.
Did you?
And I started some 3D printing.
Let's talk about this.
Wait, before you do, quick question. Did you have the nightmare when you wake up and you couldn't find your defibrillator? Most firemen wake up, they can't find the gear, but in your case, was it the defibrillator?
He's like this. No, I sleep great.
No, I used to have my dream that I had constantly, and I don't really know what it means, but I always had a dream that they detailed me out to another station somewhere. I parked my car. Didn't know where I was. Parked my car, did my tour, but when I came out at the end of the shift, I could never find my car, and I just remember running around the city like I was lost.
I think I've had that type of dream.
I've had that same type of dream too. I've had that.
So there's a similarity there.
Is it something with the job? I don't know. But
it's either that or there's one where guys are at the firehouse and the tones go off and they can't find their gear. They can't.
It's pretty similar.
Oh, is that a dream you guys had? You can't find.
Oh, not only me, like hundreds of firemen had that same dream.
Yeah,
so that's why we asked.
Yeah. Hey, Frank. You know what I wanted to ask you before we talk about the website? What did your dad ever buff out with you at all? Did he ever come on the check out the ambulance or anything like that? Did he talk about it?
No. My father was a bus driver for the city, but the time I got onto EMS, he was kind of finishing up with the EMT training, but he wasn't a buff. He was big with the volunteers. I mean, I remember the early 70s. I remember 1976, the bicentennial year. At that time, the volunteers were big. We had Greenpoint volunteer, Williamsburg volunteer on Graham Avenue. And I remember being in these EMS volunteers all the time, when I was younger. But I never. He was never a buff. He wasn't a buff. No.
He was just doing the right thing.
He's a bus driver.
Right thing. Yeah.
Bus driver, Ruff. You know what they say, right? The working class man is for suckers.
Yeah. Your father's the tough guy.
Yeah. You see, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what? It's funny. when I was younger, I remember my mother walking me up to Grain Avenue. My father was driving the Grain Avenue line. My mother would walk me up to Grain Avenue. My father would come. I'd get on the bus with him, and I'd sit on the bus with him, and I'd go up and down Grain Avenue with him.
Oh, shit. So you did the same exact thing. No shit.
Just like in the movie. And I remember if you guys remember, like they used to give you paper transfers, right? You had to transfer.
Yes.
And I would love, my father would bring me home stacks of these book of transfers, and I'd be ripping the transfers off. Like I was a big shit, ripping the transfers off, and so little things like that, that's what we did, just like the Bronx Tale. You're riding the bus. If he rode the bus on Meeker Avenue that went over the Kosciuszko Bridge into Queens and turned around, came back over
Webster Ave.
Yeah,
no, it's right. You had a sister too, right, Frank? Your youngest sister, if I remember.
Right. So my sister is 2 years, Joanne. She's in Middle Village. She lives in Middle Village, and my brother Ralph is in Marlboro, New Jersey.
Ralphie,
my sister-in-law.
Ralphie boy, yeah.
Marlboro, New Jersey.
All right, let's get into what's that?
No, I was gonna say my sister-in-law lives in Marlboro.
New Jersey.
This
is FDNY Fish. There it is. This is
right there. Show it up. Bring a couple of those things close.
Come on, get them closer. Gonzo's like, "Where's mine?"
It's pretty.
So you know what, Lou? Oh yeah. Show him that. Yeah, so I'm making some 3D things, and I tell you the truth, the way it started was on Facebook. We have a few groups. We have a Green and White Foundation and a New York City EMS Memories group, where a lot of the old timers, New York City EMS personnel are there. So one of the first things I did when I got the 3D printer was I turned the old EMS logo into a 3D.
That's cool, man.
3D little model. So I did the EMS logo. I did the EMS paramedic logo, and then then I did the fire versions of it. I got the fire paramedic logo, the EMT patch with the fire logo on it, and then of course my Frankie the Fish's FDNY.
Frankie the Fish's design
logo. So so we never got back to the logo. So
you got to do that quick.
Over time, my logo started appearing on all kinds of fire department documents, and now that's the logo that they put on all the vehicles. So when you guys look at vehicles, logo, when you see that
get paid.
You owe me some money.
My logo.
Guys, let me say, I sent you 2 pictures with the truck, like the actual. I think it was 9 truck, or I don't know.
Yeah, we have both. You have 9 and 43. We have 43.
So that's Frankie's flame right there.
I would make it stink. You got to get paid.
Those sons.
Show me the money!
So now when you guys look at logos, now you're going to start looking at logos, and you're going to see the round flame. You go, well, that's Frankie's logo.
So that's the Fishes right there, bro.
Yeah. So I was doing some EMS stuff. I got some friends in NYPD. I did the NYPD logo, the ESU logo.
Oh, Mike, where's Mike?
I don't have that one. He's like,
and,
my.
So, if you go to FDNYfish.com, that'll push you over to Etsy, where I have a little store where anybody's looking for anything. If somebody wants something custom made, I can do company stuff. Just shoot me an email at fdnyfish@gmail.com. Use a coupon code of SALTY for 15%.
Oh, 15.
15.
Very generous man, that Frankie.
Christmas is coming, baby.
That's right.
Let's turn up the heat a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post it up. I'm gonna post it up tomorrow on the Instagram too. I'll post it up to you, Frankie.
Yeah. So that's it. Oh, and I got one more story for you. I got the best license plate in Pennsylvania. And a lot of people, when they see this license plate, they can't understand it, how I got this plate. This was like an illegal plate. You couldn't have anything like this in New York. They blacked out a lot of this stuff.
You ready?
I
ready for it?
Let's see it.
Here we go. I was waiting for the delivery for your delivery.
Way.
Yeah, FDNY. And
you can never give that one up.
I would never give it up. And let me tell you something. I've gotten pulled over a few times by some state troopers here and some local cops, and they pull me over.
You think you're working?
And they go, what kind of vehicle is this? Who are you registered? Who's this registered to? I said, it's mine, my personal vehicle. For some reason, when they type in FDNY in some of the police computer systems, FDNY by itself doesn't come up. And they're telling me that when they put in FDNY, they're getting like all kinds of other FDNY stuff. Maybe somebody has, FDNY 288, FDNY 1, FDNY 911. But for some reason, like my plate doesn't come up.
You're under the radar, baby.
That's right. Yeah. And yeah, we were on our way home from New York one time, because we're always back and forth to New York, me and my wife and the kids. And the cop pulled me over, and he's like, I had to pull you over because your plate didn't come up. I guess it caught me on a plate reader, and I don't know what it said. They thought it was like fake plates or something. And I said, no, it's my plate.
It said
Even
the fish.
Yeah.
The fish.
Yeah.
The fish. Who's this guy? The fish. We got to.
Frankie, I told you about the old school tip, right?
Yes, I have it right here.
Old school tip. What could be?
All right, hold on.
Wait a minute. We got to set you up, Frankie, for you.
Just wanted to make sure that he had it. I don't remember if I told him or not.
No, I may have missed that, but anyway,
I have it.
Is it about that time?
It is.
It is that time. It's time
All right,
for
everyone. It is time for. Here we go. The old school
tip of the day. Take it away.
All right, Francis.
Take it away.
All right. My tip is never let the door close behind you. Prop it open with the stair chair. Always have a way out. And Steve Gregory's famous quote, "No good deed goes unpunished." And it's true. It's true.
Oh,
yeah, it looked like when you
and you lived it. You lived
it.
Oh,
yes,
office. 10 years later, somebody's taking credit for
guys are making millions of dollars. The FDNY stole your patch. I mean, what the hell's going on here? For God's sake.
That's why you gotta have a partner like Louis. They would never get away with that shit, bro.
No, I get right on him. How
many times Coops calls me up? Making the patch. I'll tell him, hey, it's my patch.
Coops is like, dude, Lou, check this guy out. He's trying to sell our shirt, like our logo or something like this. 2 minutes later, I got the guy's email. I'm calling him. I got his number.
You need the enforcer.
You need a bulldog.
I have you have a shout out, Ruffy, before I get to this one, because we have a line of duty.
Go ahead. I think I have one, but go ahead.
Okay, I have Connecticut firefighter dies. The guy sent me Ray 94913 blows the article of the death of firefighter's death. It would be nice if you and Louis could give him for $5. All right. Weathersfield firefighter died while battling a brush fire in Lamentation Mountain on Tuesday after his UTV they were operating on a steep, rocky incline rolled over, officials said. So it's firefighter who died was identified as by Meriden police late Tuesday night as 66-year-old Robert Sharkovich, who was also a retired Hartford firefighter. So dying in the line of duty, we're going to give my man here the 5 bells. Rest in peace. I got to reach over. All right, Ruffopotamus, what do you got?
So also FDNY Engine 42 up in the Bronx is having their 150th anniversary is actually coming up November 8th. And they have a website. They're trying to raise some money for their centennial there, 150th anniversary. And the website is engine42notruck.com. Check it out. Engine42notruck.com. They're celebrating their 150th anniversary. It's on November 8th. They're just selling some merchandise. They wanted to see if you guys, if we would share it for them to make a couple of bucks for their
nice,
not a centennial, I guess, whatever the heck it is called.
All right. So, like I said, next week we are going to play a tape show. We're going to be doing the history with Hash Hagen on Dr. Archer. So check that out. It's a little sample. I guarantee you watch that. You want to go over to the saltywire.com. Oh, Gons, we got to play the quick commercial. I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh, I'm glad you said something. That was a all right. We have to have two.
Cut it short, please. Even before we get to the friction coefficient, cut it off.
Okay. Here we go.
Need a new floor for your fire station? Choose an Armor Tough interlocking flooring system to cover your aging, stained, cracked concrete or epoxy floor. Armor Tough has been around for nearly 20 years and has proven to be the best choice in renovating your station's floors, covering nearly 600 floors across the country. Proudly made in America, Armor Tough comes with a lifetime warranty and are usually installed in 1 or 2 days, depending on the size of your station, with virtually no disruption in your station's operation. Our system is guaranteed from chipping, cracking, peeling, breaking, or staining. The tiles are stain resistant and impervious to chemicals or volatiles that are used in the fire service. Image 1.
All right, you ready? You got a health and safety tip?
Yes, I do. I have one off the top of my dome.
Okay, here we go.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
Okay, so the old school tip tonight. I went for my medical, and one thing I talked to the doctor is that she said that 9 out of 10 guys come in there and they're dehydrated. You're not drinking enough water, especially if you're an active guy. But even if you're not, you should be drinking enough water because dehydration can lead to many other problems.
Absolutely.
Mr. D'Amato.
Thank you guys for having me.
Here comes another birthday present for you, Frankie the Fixer.
Oh, man. Do you know what that movie is, Frank? Please tell me you know what movie that is. You ever heard of Wise Guys with Danny DeVito, Joe Pesci?
I don't think I've ever seen
not
that.
Pesci, Joey.
Sounds familiar, but
and it was Frankie the Fixer was in the movie, big fat guy.
Now he's gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's funny as hell. I'm sorry, I keep playing it because I'm hoping somebody will recognize it.
Is it funny?
Oh
All right.
God, it's hysterical.
All right,
Really?
so we'll have to watch it now.
Get over to
Frank, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure.
Get over to the Fish's website, order some Christmas gifts. It comes here quick. What's the turnaround time, Frank, that these guys have?
well, it depends. Normally I got a 1-day turnaround time. See what happens after the show. If I get too many orders, just a few days.
All right, sounds
Custom
good.
thing is, I think
The
that one.
things that takes time.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time, but
Or
All right,
that's
send them
understood.
over. You can, so basically, you can do anybody's patch if they send it to you, right?
yeah, I could, yeah. If somebody wants something custom, let them email me first, because
Right.
with the 3D printing, I can't do like real fine little details.
Mhm.
So if it's something simple,
Right.
I could probably do most of the stuff. But yeah, just shoot me an email with the logo, and I'll let you know right away if I can.
All
do
right,
it.
make sure you upcharge a little bit. We got to make up for all those logos you never got paid for. Bro.
FDNY Fish, FDNY Fish at gmail.com.
All right.
Yeah, that's my email, right? Sure.
Okay, very good.
All right, guys, enjoy next week. The following week, I think we have leave, right? In the 30 fires or something?
Yes, correct.
That is correct.
I don't know where we're going. Somewhere in the country. All right. Happy Halloween.
Yes.
Guys, have a great day. Have a good weekend. Be safe, like always.
Be careful out there.
Stay low and go.
All right, boys. We'll see you at the big one. Frank, it was a pleasure, brother. Again, thank you.
Same here. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.